back, everyone. So as we know, I'm talking about the mind, body, and spirit because it's all connected. For us to live happy, healthy lives, and for us to be connected with our spirit guides and all of that, and to really get centered in our bodies, we need to be connected in all those things. And that is where this comes in, because our ancestors looked to the plants that grew in the local forests and gardens to heal their elements, right? We didn't have the pharmacies and all this and that to go to. There wasn't all this drug addiction and all this going on back then. People were living a lot longer without all this pharmaceutical crap going around, right? But it's time to get back to the land, to the forest, to living off of the land again, living freely. And that is what I plan on doing. That is where we are headed, to Arizona soon, and planning on getting some land because I want to start my own garden, start doing these things myself again like I used to do when my grandmother was alive. And so, knowledge of healing plants and what to mix together to address fever and aches and to stop infections was the province of the local healer, or the wise one in every community, right? Some of these practices we know today as herbal remedies, right? Like drinking peppermint or ginger tea to help with stomach issues, right? But how did these people first learn of the healing nature of plants and which herbs to use for each element, right? They did this by watching the animals in the forest find and eat certain herbs, and by observing what happened when animals touched or ate plants like poison ivy. Ancient herbalists were able to learn from nature which plants were good for what issues, right? Over time, herbalists developed a large knowledge base of herbs and plants to use in diverse situations. The knowledge was applied to magical as well as physical healing work. To the ancient world, there really was no separation between the mind, body, and spirit. They were all connected. What affected one aspect of your life, not having a successful crop, is an example here, could affect your mental health, physical health, or spiritual well-being as well, right? So spells for prosperity and success would focus on all aspects of the need, right? The fact that ancient cultures were so dependent on understanding the cycles of nature allowed herbalists to observe and develop in their craft, right? By watching nature, they could see when it was best to plant and when it was best to harvest. These are things that I should have paid so much attention to my grandmother with, and I wish I would have. She was so good at these things, and they knew which plants worked best fresh and which ones were best dried, right? Herbalists knew the local plants that were native to their area. Nowadays, the herbal tradition is being revived by people who look to nature to address health and wellness issues. So magical and spiritual herbalists often rely on a principle called the doctrine of signatures, which dates back to medieval folk medicine and basically holds that like affects like. Something that has the appearance of a particular thing can cure that particular thing, right? So for an example here, the plant eyebright has flowers that resemble the shape of an eye. So it was used to treat people related to sight. Spiritually, this led to eyebright being used in rituals related to psychic sights or to enhance mental abilities, right? Early herbal medicine relied heavily on the doctrine of signatures. In the early days of the Christian church, it was often said that God made it so we would know what to use the plants for, right? The knowledge was most often passed from teacher to student, or parent to child. Most of the herbal practices in ancient and medieval times were transmitted orally because the majority of people could not read. So training included harvesting herbs, preparing them, and administering them as herbalists. Also learned through practical application and experience. Many items used by medieval herbalists are still utilized in medicinal and magical herbalism today. Eye bright is still used for ailment of the eye, and lungwort is still. Can you see where that is going? It is still used by some herbalists to treat ailments of the lung. Some more modern herbal essence remedies, such as the Bach flower remedies, developed by the British doctor Edward Bach in the 1930s, used a variation on this doctrine. Bach focused on the vibrational and energetic aspects of plants and other substances rather than on their visual appearance, and sometimes the results were just as good. So here's a word on safety, though, when it comes to this. Before we talked about how to practice herbal medicine and work with natural alternative medicine, right? It is important to think about safety as well. There are many herbs that contradict conventional medicine, if I can get the word out, medications, like St. John's wort is one of them, for instance. It is known to be an excellent herbal supplement for depression, but it can also be known to counteract the effects of many forms of birth control as well. So, because some herbs can cause severe adverse effects for certain medical conditions when taken with certain medicines, and if taken in combination with other herbs, right? Or if taken before or after surgery, knowing what you can use and what you can't is so important when it comes to this as well. It's also important to remember that when it comes to herbal medicine, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, FDA, considers them to be a dietary supplement not intended to treat, diagnose, prevent, or cure any disease, right? Additionally, federal law does not require dietary supplements to be proven safe to FDA's satisfaction before they are marked. So, this should not stop you from using alternative medicine or herbal supplements, though. They can be wonderful healing tools and great additions to a very healthy life. You just first need to check with your doctor, do your research, right? Research, and ask questions of a certified herbalist or medical professional trained in herbalism. Something I am not trained in. My grandmother was really good at it, but I never paid attention. So all this being said, there are plenty of ways to use your own simple remedies. So making salves, teas, and ointments are great starting points to get into this. Just remember that if you experience any adverse effects, immediately stop your treatment and seek help from a trained medical professional. So, the planet we live on is full of medicinal plants, whether you find them in your garden, your yard, or just in the wild, right? Or in nature. Learning to work with the plants and herbs in your own backyard and local to you can help you live a healthier life and be more connected to the world around you. Combining magical and medicinal herbalism is a practical path. There is a lot that a person can do with items that they have right there in your own very home. It didn't come out right? Just by looking in your spice cabinet, in your pantry, and out the window at your yard, right? You can find ingredients to create many different remedies and spells that can be crafted and performed right in your own home without the need to travel or buy expensive ingredients. So it's important to remember that the health of the body and the health of the spirit are connected. So, while many people in the modern world do not take this for granted, historically it was generally accepted. Many treatments used in the past dealt with spiritual aspects of an illness as well as of physical symptoms, as it was believed that many ills were caused by spirits or demons, right, within us. For example, plants such as garlic or onion were considered to have exorcism or banishment potential, as well as healing properties, right? So they had both, which is believed in this connection between the mind and the body, and while using magic and rituals to help deal with the spiritual aspects of healthcare. Some of the healing work a witch does will be in the form of rituals, while other aspects will involve herbal supplements, teas, or decoctions, right? It has been shown that the power and association of the mind influence the health and wellness of the physical body. So, when something affects the mind, the body and spirit are also affected. Some elements like depression and anxiety do more damage to the mind and spirit than to the body, but all three are connected. So now, where do we begin with all of this, right? You can first start by looking at the folklore and folk remedies of your ancestors, right? Long ago, people were unable to simply drive down to the local pharmacy or grocery store to get medicine when they were sick. These people had to rely on remedies that they could make at home using what was available in their garden or the environment. Along with all this going on right now, with them saying that there's shortages and there's going to be this and there's going to be that, it's time to get back. It's time to get back to nature. It's time to get back to our mind, body, and spirit being connected as one. It's time to take back our power with natural law, getting into all that. I will be getting into it soon as well. All of that is connected. All of it. And it's time that we do that. But these people had to rely on remedies that could make at home using what was available in their garden or in their environment. They found remedies for almost everything, from headaches and stomach aches. I still remember my grandmother when I was a kid, or babies even, with a stomach ache. The peppermint in the water, that right there is a remedy, right? It's passed down from generation to generation. That is one that I still remember. To fever and coughs. And many are simple treatments that can be created quickly and easily. They are not only effective, but they may also save lots of money in the long run. Some of them can be used right after they are prepared, while some may need to sit overnight in a refrigerator, right? One ingredient used often in folk remedies that has a lot of health and healing potential is honey. There are good reasons why there is honey included in numerous cough medicines, cough drops, lozenges. Raw honey has natural antibiotic properties that help kill off harmful bacteria. It is also a natural sweetener that not only tastes good, just a tablespoon will soothe the pain of a sore throat. Honey helps prevent coughs and laryngitis. By coating the throat, it prevents irritation, which helps make speaking and breathing easier. Apple cider vinegar is another great ingredient, right? If you eat starchy or carb-rich meal and take some vinegar while eating, the vinegar will feed the good bacteria in your gut, helping with digestion and constipation and boosting your immune system. apple cider vinegar is very acidic. So it should not be taken straight, or it could damage the enamel on your teeth and your esophagus as well. So take 1 tablespoon diluted in a small glass of water as needed, and check with your healthcare professional before starting regular use, especially if you have diabetes, right? So I'll be going into more of these later on. We're going to talk about some charms and stuff like that, things that you can make at home. So keep following me on this journey, because we're going to take this journey together. Something that I should have followed my grandmother on long ago when she tried to get me to follow all those plants and herbs. And there's only a few that I remember, like the aloe vera. If you're sunburnt, that is a good one to rub on a sunburn. It's also good to put in, if you want to lose weight, you can mix it with some fruits, and that I can't remember it all exactly. I have it wrote down somewhere, but you can also put it in with that and make a smoothie with it, and it'll help you to lose weight as well. So just some little tips and tricks that I learned from my grandmother. I should have paid closer attention. I kind of hate that I didn't now, but yeah, I love each and every one of you. We will talk about a folk charm tomorrow, and also I think I will leave it with just the folk charm and maybe some more herbs, a couple more herbs, and talk about them. So with that said, I love each and every one of you. Keep following me on this journey, because we're going to be talking about the mind, body, and spirit, and how we can get that completely aligned and living a healthy and abundant and prosperous life, because they all have to be together in one. So I love each and every one of you. Have a blessed day.